In this video, I'm going to show you the top 5 best foods for weight loss. If you incorporate these foods in your daily diet, not only are you going to lose weight at an exponential rate, you also get to maintain your results. Heck, it might just change your life. These are the exact same tips that I give to all my students, and they've all gotten to see some amazing results. So you know it works. Before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. Alright, let's dive in. It should go without saying, but I have to mention it anyway. The best foods for weight loss are not low or zero calorie foods. So if you've been regularly drinking diet soda, or you always go for the low fat or low calorie version of regular foods, like skim milk or low fat cheese, which tastes like butt and you're not losing weight, this video is gonna be a complete revelation to you. Here's a fun fact for you. Your body doesn't count calories. You have no calorie counter in your stomach. Hey, I want you to comment below if you find one. Counting calories is such an oversimplistic way of looking at the human body. You need to start looking at food as information, not just a mathematical equation. Yes, calories matter, but hormones are more important because weight loss in its very essence is not about counting calories, it's about controlling hunger. Pause this video and rewind it if you need to hear that again. Some of the foods that I'm about to mention might even fly in the face of conventional wisdom. And if you've been led astray, you've been counting calories all this time, but it hasn't really worked, you keep losing and putting back on the same weight you've been trying to lose, it's because counting calories has a 99% failure rate. Let me just share this quick experiment with you to blow this oversimplistic calorie counting model out of the water. A guy by the name of Sam Feltham, and you can do a quick Google search on this, wanted to prove the calories in versus calories up model wrong. So he decided that he would eat 5,794 calories every day for 21 days and document his supposed weight gain. For reference, that's 3 times more than the amount of daily recommended calories for the average man. It's a lot of calories. But he didn't just follow any random diet. He decided to follow a low-carb, high-fat diet of natural foods for 21 days. You know, the diet that I always talk about on my channel that best moderates the fat-storing hormone insulin, because he believed that refined carbs, not total calories, caused weight gain. If we use the standard calculations of the calories in versus calories up model, he should have gained about 16 pounds or 7.3 kilos of fat. His actual weight gain, 2.8 pounds or 1.3 kilos, not even 3 pounds, even though he was eating almost 6,000 calories every day for 21 days. What's even more interesting is he dropped more than an inch off his waist. So he gained a little bit of weight, but it was lean mass. You're probably wondering, how? His metabolism, the calories out part of the equation, increased to accommodate the excess calories. Your metabolism can actually go up or down by as much as 40%. But the calories in versus calories out zealots just makes this erroneous assumption that it always stays stable. It does not stay stable. Again, your body is a little bit more complicated than that. But hey, it gets better. In another experiment, Feltham again ate 5,794 calories every day. But this time, he ate the standard American diet, which is a high-carb, low-fat diet. He ate a lot of highly processed foods, which are extremely insulinogenic. A lot of the fat-storing hormone insulin were produced, and the results were predictable. He gained 15.6 pounds or 7.1 kilos in 21 days, and his waistline went up by 3.6 inches. So how could he eat the same amount of calories, but have his body react completely differently between the two diets? It's clearly a little bit more than just calories. Not all calories are created equal. Your diet composition, specifically how your body reacts to it physiologically, and our bodies does this through the secretion of certain hormones, plays a huge role when it comes to our body weight. So, how do we control hunger to induce weight loss? We need to focus on eating nutrient-dense foods that trigger satiety, specifically fat and protein, because they both trigger our satiety hormones. Fat triggers cholecystokinin or CCK, while protein triggers peptide YY or PYY. Adherence is also crucial to your success. For the most part, all the foods that I'm going to mention are going to be delicious by most people's standards, except maybe for the last one. It's a bit of an acquired taste, but it's also widely considered to be the superfood of all superfoods. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there, but it's absolutely worth it. Number 1, eggs. The humble egg, pound for pound, is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Again, only rivaled by the 5th food I'm gonna give you today. Eggs contain 13 vitamins and minerals, including the very hard-to-find lutein and choline, which are vitamins for your eyes and brain. It's also rich in other vitamins like B, D, E, and the more bioactive version of vitamin K, which is K2. You can only find K2 in animal foods. Eggs are also high in fat and protein, which triggers satiety. It's basically nature's version of a multivitamin, and it's freaking delicious. Dr. Sean Baker, a big name in the carnivore diet space, eats 12 eggs every day. He's 54 years old and he looks like that. If you follow him on social media, he also regularly tests and posts his biomarkers, and they are mighty impressive. Animals in the wild inherently know how valuable eggs are. Predators will literally risk their lives going after a bird's egg, for example, because they know how nutrient dense it is. The good thing about eggs is it's accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter where you live on the planet. If you go to a grocery store, they'll always have eggs. They're also relatively cheap. In a perfect world, you're eating the highest quality eggs you can afford, which are pastured eggs from happy nesting chickens. But as always, there are levels to this. If you can only afford cheap eggs, that's totally fine. It's still infinitely better than eating cereal, toast, or oatmeal for breakfast. Number 2, sardines. Sardines are jam-packed with nutrients while also being high in fat and protein, which again satisfies our criteria. They're also relatively cheap. No food even comes close to the amount of essential omega-3 fatty acids they contain, which help prevent heart disease because of its anti-inflammatory properties. Sardines are also packed with essential vitamins like B12 and vitamin D, as well as minerals like niacin, iron, potassium, magnesium, zinc, and phosphorus. Sardines and other types of seafood in general, especially shellfish, are one of the best sources of iodine. If you don't have seafood as part of your regular diet, you're most likely not getting enough of this mineral. One of the consequences of this is thyroid dysfunction. The human body needs iodine to make thyroid hormones. If you don't get enough of it, then that's when you might start running into problems. If you have any sort of thyroid dysfunction, it makes it extremely hard to lose weight. That's one of the side effects of hypothyroidism. So you want to make sure you're eating enough foods that contain this mineral. Other types of seafood that also contain iodine are other cold water fish like salmon, cod, tuna, anchovies, as well as scallops and shrimp. All delicious food. I want to give a special shout out to oysters because it's specifically high in zinc, which helps our immune system and metabolism function. It's also important to wound healing and your sense of taste and smell. Zinc is also required to create thyroid hormones. Number 3, butter. Yep. You heard that right. Butter is pure fat, which again triggers cholecystokinin. It's also delicious. It makes everything taste better. Think about a piece of steak with some butter. I can't be the only one who's eaten a stick of butter by itself. Don't judge me. I don't regret it. For this to make sense, let's talk about one of the most important hormones in your body, which I kind of brushed on at the beginning of this video, and that's insulin. A lot of experts consider it to be the master hormone because it's the hormone that controls our body weight. And I've mentioned ad nauseum on my channel how important it is to keep insulin moderated. But if you're new, let me just quickly explain how this works. This is a good review for some of you as well. In order for our body to burn body fat for energy, insulin needs to be low. Think of it as a switch to fat burning and fat storing. You can't do both at the same time. Every time we eat, assuming that it's a blend of carbs, fat, and protein, insulin gets released to store all those nutrients. You're in fat storing mode. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Your body needs to be in fat storing mode to convert the food that you eat into usable energy in the form of glycogen and body fat. The problem lies in the frequency. When you eat all day, even if it's just a little nibble here and there, insulin always stays high, which means you're in fat storing mode all day. If you do this long enough, you'll eventually develop insulin resistance, which is part of a bigger problem called metabolic syndrome. For context, a mind-blowing 88% of American adults have some form of metabolic dysfunction. That's almost 9 out of every 10. 3 out of 4 American adults are in the overweight or obese category. A lot of these people don't even know they're insulin resistant. Now, how do you reverse insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction? Do the complete opposite of what you've been doing. Eat less frequently. No snacking in between meals. Stop eating refined carbs. Don't graze on food all day. You're not a cow. And ideally, you want to eat all your meals in a compressed eating window. This is more commonly known as intermittent fasting, which I also talk about ad nauseum on my channel. So if you're new to this concept, make sure you check out all my other videos about it. Again, not all calories are created equal. Some foods stimulate insulin more than others. Carbs, especially refined carbs and sugar, are the most insulinogenic. Insulinogenic means it's fattening. The more processing your food goes through, the worse it is for you. That's why eating fake meat is so bad for you and the environment. You're not eating real food at that point. Protein also stimulates insulin, but it also triggers peptide YY, so you're kind of protected there. It's very hard to overeat on protein, while fat stimulates it the least, like barely. It has little to no effect on insulin. Now, the minimum effective dose of intermittent fasting is a 16-hour fast. The longer you go, the better. The easiest way to think about this is just skip breakfast. But for a lot of people, they find it hard at first because they get hangry, which is totally normal. Remember, you are going against a lifetime of eating habits here. That's where butter comes in. What you can do instead is a variation of intermittent fasting called bulletproof intermittent fasting, which was popularized by Dave Asprey. Instead of eating your typical breakfast, which usually involves eating a ridiculous amount of insulinogenic processed carbs for a lot of people, you're just gonna drink a cup of black coffee blended with butter. The classic bulletproof coffee recipe also calls for MCT oil and grass-fed butter, or ghee, but not everyone has access to it. It's also not the cheapest. And I'm all about the path of least resistance and making this as easy and accessible for everyone. If you just blend 1 to 2 tablespoons of unsalted salted butter and coffee, it'll still do the trick. And it actually turns into this frothy treat. And you can bet that the fat content from butter will keep you full for hours. And again, because butter, which is pure fat, has little to no effect on insulin, it'll still keep you in fat burning mode. You're still in ketosis. You still get most of the benefits of intermittent fasting. It's a win-win. This is an unbelievably effective hack to be able to push your first meal until lunchtime. Think of it as a training wheel when you're just getting started with intermittent fasting. But eventually you're gonna want to take the wheels off. And again, if you've never tried bulletproof coffee before, you are in for a treat. It's like drinking a latte guilt-free. It's absolutely delicious. Number 4, beef. Let me just start off by saying that eating red meat is not bad for you. If your doctor still believes in that myth, you need to find a new doctor. Any study that claims that red meat is bad for you is based on what's called an epidemiological study. It's an observational study that can really only establish correlation, but not causation. But through authoritative parroting, it eventually becomes accepted as conventional wisdom. Ask any random person and they will unequivocally tell you that fat is bad for you. Fat makes you fat. Saturated fat and cholesterol causes heart disease. No. It's quite the opposite. Multiple interventional studies, which is real science, have shown no beneficial effects of reducing saturated fat intake in cardiovascular disease and total mortality. Instead, they found protective benefits against stroke. Whole fat dairy, unprocessed meat, eggs, and dark chocolate are saturated fatty acids-rich foods with a complex matrix that are not associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The totality of available evidence does not support further limiting the intake of such foods. Let me translate that for you. The more saturated fat you eat, the more protected you are against stroke, the healthier you are. Listen to that again if you have to. Dr. Paul Saladino, another big name in the carnivore diet space, he's one of my heroes and he also looks like that. He also regularly checks and posts his biomarkers on his social media account. Actually has a really good talk on YouTube about animal fat and how it's the most precious human food. So if you're someone who's been avoiding red meat all this time, especially fatty cuts of meat, this will set you free. You can now enjoy a nice piece of ribeye steak with some butter, guilt-free. Here's a little side-by-side comparison of kale and blueberries, which are often considered superfoods by a lot of experts, versus beef. As you can see, beef contains more niacin, folate, vitamin D, iron, and that's heme iron, which is the more bioavailable form, and zinc. It also contains vitamin B12 and K2, which are non-existent in plants. Again, you can only find them in animal foods. Okay, I've mentioned the word essential a few times already. Essential nutrients means that our body needs it to be healthy, but we can't make it or we can't make enough of it. It needs to come from food. Now, you've probably noticed that the food right next to beef has the most superior numbers, even more than beef in a lot of categories. It's actually widely considered to be the most nutrient-dense food on the planet, and that's grass-fed beef liver. There are two types of people in this world. People who say they hate the taste of beef liver and dirty liars. Admittedly, I used to hate it. It's definitely an acquired taste. I picked them out of my food for the longest time whenever my mom made menudo. But when I learned more about its nutrient density, I've made a complete 180 turn towards it. Just look at these numbers. They are honestly very hard to ignore. If you compare it side by side next to kale, it makes kale look like you're eating cardboard, which is exactly what kale tastes like. All the credit for a lot of these pictures, by the way, goes to one of my favorite accounts on Instagram, Carnivore Aurelius. He's a good follow. Unfortunately, eating organ meat has kind of become a forgotten thing in North America. But in a lot of countries outside of North America, liver and organ meat in general is actually considered a delicacy. You can usually find them in a lot of street food stands. If you're not a fan, I totally get it. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it. You can try to hide it in burger patties or maybe mix it with ground beef. What I used to do was eat a piece of pork rind with every liver bite. If you just take one thing away from this video, this is it. Start eating grass-fed beef liver. Even an ounce a day is gonna do wonders for you. You can also take beef liver capsules, and they also have beef liver crisps these days. As you can see here, the latter is better. Also, try to experiment with other types of organ meat like the heart and the brain. I actually grew up eating pig and chicken intestine because I ate a lot of street food when I was a kid. A lot of native tribes that still live a mostly hunter-gatherer lifestyle actually consider the brain to be the most valuable part of the animal, and liver. And it makes sense, that's where all the important nutrients go. Now, you probably noticed that I didn't include plants in this video. You can definitely eat some, but you want to base it on what your body can tolerate in terms of toxicity, which I explain in further detail in this video. But my challenge for you is try to eat all the foods I mentioned in this video for a month. Ideally, just stick to the 5. I can almost guarantee that you are going to be unrecognizable after 30 days in a good way. It might just change your life. The next question then becomes, How are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing, 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I was finally able to get rid of all my unwanted body fat without depriving myself of my favorite foods or spending countless hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my students, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. Hey, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week, and feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Virtual high five.